Welcome to One Happy Thing, the podcast where three best-selling novelists, Maddie Dawson, Carrie Schaefer, and Jennifer Mormon, explore the silver linings, bright moments, and everyday magic that inspire a kinder, more creative world. One happy thing at a time.
Well, hey, welcome to One Happy Thing podcast. I'm Jennifer Mormon, and I am just loving that I get to spend this time with two of my favorite people, Maddie Dawson and Carrie Schaefer. And we've got something interesting to talk about today. This is not my normal go-to topic because I'm going to bust in and tell you what it is. Are y'all ready for this conversation?
We're ready.
I don't know. It sounds like I need to have a cup of tea. And
it sounds like it could be challenging. Well, I would say I'm very compassionate. And if I'm just saying that I could also say, well, maybe I'm not. So I'm trying to convince you that I'm compassionate. But I do think that I am. But I often find myself stumbling when it comes to self-compassion because I am still a recovering perfectionist. I mean, I have moments where I know that I don't have to be perfect. I know that things don't have to be perfect. I know that part of being a human is messy and we just try again every day. But what I have found that happened recently is I was kind of holding a grudge. Ugh, it just makes me feel icky to even say that. It took me about 3 days to realize it. And by that time I was like, my stomach hurts, my head hurts, I don't feel good. And then it dawned on me, I'm carrying garbage in my body, which is a grudge. And I had one of my best friends, she basically pointed it out in a loving way. She was like, well, maybe it's this thing. And maybe you're actually really mad about it. And so it's not that I don't get mad. Okay, y'all, I do get mad sometimes. But a lot of times I'm like, oh, I don't want to be mad. So I will work around it without maybe working through it sometimes. And so I found that when I realized that I had been mad at somebody for about 3 days and kind of holding a grudge that was making my body feel bad, I got mad at myself. I was like, why would I do that? I know better. I mean, we talk about these things all the time on the podcast, off the podcast about, controlling your thoughts, grab a hold in those wild ones and reframing it, taking that one out, not thinking it, raising our vibration, looking for joy, looking for magic. All these things are still very true. But what happened was when I realized I know all the things. I mean, not all the things, but I know a lot of stuff. And I wasn't using it on myself. I was just so angry. I was like, all these things. How could you be angry for days? And then literally I spent another day being mad at myself. And then I cried about it because I was so upset with myself. And I was like, am I the only person who does this, who knows better, if we want to even use that word, falls off the wagon and then beats themselves up for falling off the wagon? Because I would never beat y'all up for falling off the wagon. I'd literally pick you back up, love on you, and put you back on the wagon. And I find that sometimes it's challenging to do that for myself. Have you ever found that?
Absolutely. That's so true. It's so hard to be nice to ourselves sometimes, isn't it? It's like we know all the deep, dark things. And well, you know what they say, that we're always comparing our insides to other people's outsides, and so it always seems like deep within us is maybe some real flaw. I have a friend who beats herself up when she's talking all the time. She's always calling herself stupid and she's always saying, mean things about herself. And I just think you can't go around seeing yourself that way. And you don't, Jennifer, but I know it can sneak up sometimes, these very human emotions of being mad and then mad for being mad. How did you get out of it?
I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. I'm a crier,
Me too.
and literally out loud, I said, Jennifer, I forgive you for being, having this moment. We're all just human. I like to think sometimes I'm superhuman because I'm that perfectionist who's still recovering. And it's just really just literally giving myself the grace to say, okay, so what? You were mad for 3 days. We're not talking about a lifetime. We don't need you getting mad at yourself. This is me talking to myself and this we person, whatever that means. And it helped me just to step away from it. But then it took me a day because I cried and I had been mad, right? And then it took me another day to fully recover. So a week, y'all, it took me a week to get over myself. But it did teach me that next time I won't wait so long. But knew that I wanted to be kind to myself. Like that little, if I were talking to the little girl inside of me, I would never be mean to her. So it was really about me talking to her. What
Mm.
about you, Carrie? Do you ever like beat yourself up, or
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
you're like, yeah, of course I
Yes,
do.
I do. I try not to. I want to talk about the other piece of that, because that's the part that I really, I know all the things like how to be nice to myself. So like when I catch myself beating up on myself, I usually know ways to get out of that. I think the hard part is, and the part really to pay some attention to, is that we judge ourselves for being angry and holding a grudge. But there's a like, all feelings are messengers, and they have something to tell us. I went to a really amazing little ceremony. It was online the other day, but it was at the new moon. And she had us check in with all of ourselves, our physical self, our mental self, our emotional self, and our spiritual self. And she pointed out that we very often like to deny our emotional self and try and quiet it, but that everything it tells us has a message, and maybe it would be good to listen. So I've been kind of trying to do that when I find that I'm holding on to some anger, is to stop and go, I mean, your little child, Jennifer, if there was a little Jennifer that came to you and said, I'm really mad at so and so, you wouldn't say, no, no, honey, we must not be angry.
Why?
You'd say,
Yeah,
tell me
I,
why. Why do you feel that way? How do you feel? And so I think learning to give ourselves that grace. And I'm bad with anger. Anger is my emotion that I don't like. I don't like it when someone else is angry. I don't like it when I'm angry. I do not like anger. And maybe that right there is a sign that I need to pay some attention to it.
well, I did exactly what you said. And my best friend, she's wonderful. She's so much like us, where she's so gentle, even though it's like a firm conversation. And we talked about things, and then after I was like, okay, why am I angry? What about the situation is making me angry? And once you talk through that, whether it's out loud or to yourself, you get to the core of what that hurt is, because anger is just kind of not masking, but it's over top of something else. Like, what about this situation? And when you realize, oh, well, it made me mad, maybe it's real, maybe it was a really hurtful thing that happened, or maybe it's a misunderstanding, or maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture, right? There's a bunch of reasons why. And it helps. It really helps. I love that you brought that up, because that is part of what I did. And I thought, because it's a sign for me to be like, even if I'm super upset, or I don't, those are my two things. I'm going to get angry or upset. Otherwise, I'm really happy and I feel really great all the rest of the time. And I just, what's making me feel this way? And once I figure that out, I can most of the time release whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense. Like if that was the little girl and someone pulled her pigtail on the playground and she got mad and upset, you understand it. And then then it's like you've kind of just moved through it after that.
Right. It's the being heard, isn't it? It always
Yeah.
is being
Yeah.
heard. Yeah. It's interesting too that nowhere am I hearing you say that you felt you needed to go to the person who'd made you angry, that you
No,
took care
it's
of this in
me.
yourself. Yeah.
It was me. I mean, it wasn't that what was happening it was uncomfortable, but I found that it was my interpretation of what was happening that was really upsetting me. And it was never about the other person. You know what I mean? Like they were a vehicle for me to figure out something that was misaligned in my thought process, in my heart. It was really me.
Yeah.
And that also made me upset for a second, because I'm trying to over here be perfect. And I'm like, this is absurd. You do not have to be perfect. So it's like,
Well, I think it's pretty perfect of you to recognize that it came from you. I mean, how many people out in the world are doing that work? You know, they're mostly just lashing out at the other person. Like that other person is responsible for me feeling bad right now. And if they weren't being this way, I could live a happy life. You know, there's so much of that going on. And it's just the human condition almost. And look at the evolved way you looked at it and took responsibility and gave yourself what you needed. That's just that's perfect in my view.
well, that's kind. I mean, this is what's beautiful to talk about these things. I mean, Carrie went to a ceremony recently. You can support me when I feel like I face planted. And it's helpful so that I can continue to grow. Cause I think all the emotions are valid, like you said, Carrie, and I'm guilty of trying to push some of the ones away that I don't like.
Yeah.
But that can bury things, right? And so I do want to try to bring them back in front of me and look at them and figure out how I want to say how can I do better next time. I'm going to say better because for me, I want to do better. I don't want to stay mad for 3 or 4 days. I
How
don't.
about different? How about different? How about instead of better? Because that still feels judgy.
It is
Like,
judgy. You're right. You're right.
yeah, how can I not even look at it necessarily, not bring the mind into it? So one of these are things I'm playing with right now that I'm learning and exploring. And one is when you feel an emotion, you immediately, like, you feel it first. Usually you feel the emotion and then you immediately put your brain to work telling yourself a story about the emotion.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel this way, and then your brain gets busy, and we're very good because we're writers, we're very good at spinning those stories. So mine get very elaborate sometimes, that I build. But if you just, and I tried this because I'd heard it, I read it, and I was like, I wonder if you feel the emotion and you just sit with it and give it time and just sit and breathe and let the emotion run through your body and attempt to resist telling yourself stories, the emotion will actually disintegrate. It will travel through all of your little cells, and then all of the little chemicals that made it will just kind of evaporate, and it's mostly gone. And then you're left with, now you can't do that with really huge things. Like if you've been through a major trauma, I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking about somebody made me a little hurt or a little angry or I feel a little ouchy or I have that unsettled thing. To just let yourself actually just be present, which is what we talk about on this show a lot, is that just being present, be present to the emotion, and maybe even, hey, thank you for showing up. You have something to tell me. I want to hear what it is that you have to say to me. And yeah, like the really evolved step to that would be thanking the person that created the emotion in the first place for you. And I have not anywhere near that.
I have done that. I have done that because I think, well, thank you for I said earlier, the vehicle for bringing this to me because I needed it because I needed to evolve. I want to. I get to evolve. I mean, whatever that was triggering in me is something I do want to do differently next time. Or maybe some of these things you never have to experience again. Sometimes you learn it one time and that's all it takes. But for me, evolving into not thinking I've got to not be human. You know what I mean? This is so crazy. There's a part of my brain that's like, I'm not human. I should be not above people, but it's like above my own humanity, not anyone else's but my own. But I am a human. And it's like, but this is part of the human experience is that I'm going to have all these wild emotions and days that feel like I've face planted. And that's the point of the experience of being human is to have all of that. So
Most of us weren't taught this in childhood. I don't know if I was angry, I was sent to my room, until you can be pleasant, go in your room. And so I never learned to express it. I was always very afraid of expressing any anger at all. And so it's been tough in life to learn how to handle those perfectly natural feelings that
Right, right. Especially I cry when
me
I'm
too.
mad, and I hate that because I'm telling that person that I'm mad at why I'm mad at you, and I'm crying, and that feels
I hate that
humiliating and
too.
weak, and
me
no,
too.
I don't like that.
No, all three of us do that. But I cry a lot. This is okay. This is how I pressure cook release.
Yeah.
This is how that comes out of my body. But as a child, that was not comfortable for the people around me. And it was always, I'm too sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm too emotional. And these are the things that make me special, that I am emotional and
Yeah.
sensitive, right? But you're in your adulthood before you're like, oh, wait, what is my superpower that I have a heart that's gigantic,
Yes.
that is emotional?
That's what makes me a writer as well, just taking all of those feelings and putting them out on pages for other people to identify with and experience.
Jennifer, thank you for sharing this with us. I think it's really helpful for me when I have days like that to know it's like, okay, it's not me. Even Jennifer Even Jennifer is having a day like that.
I know.
And Maddie's having a day like that. And we're all, because we're human and we're all in this together. So those of you who are listening, we'd love to hear from you. If you found yourself caught in one of these cycles and maybe beat up on yourself, and how, if you have a way of getting out of that we haven't talked about, we would love to hear that.
So reach out to us. You can email us at onehappythingpodcast@gmail.com. We're all on social media. Our social media handles are in the show notes. We also have newsletters. If you want to keep up with our quirky, lovely, funny, amazing, super magical newsletters, you can subscribe to them as well. It's never spammy, y'all. It's always fun. It's always uplifting. It's book love and writer love and just love of life. So
it's superhuman and perfect.
Yeah, superhuman and imperfect newsletters. But we love hearing from y'all. It really does make us happy. We are also now on YouTube, so you can subscribe to us there. You can subscribe to us on all the listening platforms for podcasts, and we look forward to talking with you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to One Happy Thing. We hope today's episode brought a little extra joy your way. If you loved it, help us spread happiness by subscribing and leaving a review. And join us next time for One Happy Thing.
Yeah, yeah.